The call came at 7:43 a.m. on a Tuesday, 8 months and 12 days after they restructured my position. Oliver Schmidt, thick German accent, very polite. Mr. Townsend, we have discovered a significant problem with Pinnacle Steel's compliance status. Are you available to discuss? I was drinking coffee in my little office above Murphy's Pub, watching the sunrise over the Pittsburgh Steel District. 8 months earlier, I had been Pinnacle's compliance officer. Now, I was about to find out they'd made a $125 million mistake. My name's Jeremy Townsend, 54, and I've been keeping steel manufacturing companies legally compliant for 12 years. Before that, I spent 18 years in the Army Corps of Engineers, making sure dams didn't fail and bridges didn't collapse. Same principle, different uniform. When something breaks in civil engineering, communities suffer. When compliance breaks in steel manufacturing, companies die. These days, I think about that a lot more than I used to. Maybe it's the age. Maybe it's watching my son Matthew struggle to find his footing, or maybe it's those conversations with Jennifer about our retirement timeline that keep me up at night. When you're 54, you start counting backwards instead of forwards. 10 good working years left, maybe 12 if my health holds up. The doctor's been after me about my cholesterol numbers, minus 240 last check, up from 210 6 months before that. Stress, he says, you need to find ways to manage the pressure. I told him I was working on it. The day that started this whole mess was a Tuesday too. Gabriel Whitman walked into our quarterly safety meeting and called my compliance team legacy friction with outdated operational overhead. I knew right then Pinnacle Steel was heading for a cliff. Gabriel had that entitled MBA energy you see everywhere now, expensive suit, Apple Watch, and the kind of confidence that comes from never actually failing at anything that mattered. CEO's nephew, newly appointed VP of Digital Transformation, whatever that meant, in a 98-year-old steel manufacturing company. He didn't shake hands when introduced. He gave finger waves and said things like disruptive innovation and operational agility while sipping a $15 green smoothie like he'd invented efficiency. 29 years old, Harvard MBA, and the kind of guy who uses pivot as a verb in casual conversation. Nobody asked him to present that day. Nobody stopped him either. He clicked through a PowerPoint titled Streamlining Legacy Functions, Phase 1. Phase 1, it turned out, was gutting my department. I'd been Pinnacle's named SAC 2 compliance officer for 12 years. That's 12 years of building safety protocols from scratch, watching regulatory changes sweep through steel manufacturing like hurricanes, documenting every nightmare scenario the EPA, OSHA, and DOT could throw at us. I had 4 external audits under my belt with 0 violations. My filing cabinets were organized like an Army logistics system. Everything labeled, dated, cross-referenced. In Afghanistan, we used to say that attention to detail was the difference between coming home and not coming home. Same principle applies in steel manufacturing, just different consequences. Instead of improvised explosive devices, you're dealing with regulatory landmines. Both can destroy everything you've built in an instant. Gabriel didn't even know what SAC 2 meant. I watched him Google it during the meeting. That morning, he stood there grinning with his uncle's company credit card, called compliance an outdated support function, and suggested we automate oversight using AI solutions. My department was redundant, he said, overstaffed. My $85,000 salary plus $12,500 in benefits eliminated. That's $97,500 in annual savings, he bragged. Almost a full marketing budget upgrade. Someone actually clapped. I didn't. I just capped my pen and asked, "Are we done here?" Gabriel left with his spreadsheet and a satisfied little nod. I went back to my office and opened a fresh binder. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even surprise. It was protocol military habit. When someone's about to make a catastrophic mistake, you document everything and prepare for damage control. That night, I sat at our kitchen table trying to explain what happened to Jennifer without scaring her too much. We've been married 28 years, and she knows when I'm holding something back. She was paying bills, calculator out, that little crease between her eyebrows that appears whenever the numbers don't add up the way she wants them to. They really think they can just eliminate your job like that? She asked, setting down her pen. Jeremy, we've got maybe 10 working years left before we need to think seriously about retirement. The mortgage has 8 years remaining. Matthew's been living here for 8 months since graduation, and the job market's terrible for new engineers. I could see her running the calculations in her head. My salary was a big part of our financial planning. We've been talking more about retirement lately. Not because we wanted to, but because my body was starting to remind me I wasn't 35 anymore. The back aches from years of hunching over compliance documents. The stress headaches that started showing up around the quarterly audit season. The doctor's warnings about my cholesterol and blood pressure. What about our health insurance? Jennifer continued. What about Matthew's college loans that we co-send? What about, trust me, I said, reaching across to squeeze her hand. This is going to work out. She gave me that look, the one that says she believes me, but worries anyway. After 28 years of marriage, she knew I didn't make promises I couldn't keep, but she also knew I had a tendency to play things close to the vest when I was working on something. You've got that look, Jeremy. That same look you had when you were planning the irrigation project in Helmand Province and wouldn't tell anyone the details until it was finished. Smart woman. Always has been. That's why I married her. I started backing up files the next morning, every access credential, every compliance designation, every legal document where my name appeared as the responsible authority. Most people at Pinnacle didn't realize our entire regulatory framework still required my formal signature. Every quarterly filing, every safety certification, every audit response had Jeremy Townsend listed as primary contact. No replacement had been designated. Nobody could replace me without board approval and formal reassignment paperwork filed within 21 calendar days, but Gabriel didn't know that. His uncle Nicholas, the CEO, probably didn't either. See, here's what these MBA types never understand about government compliance. It's not about efficiency or optimization or any of those buzzwords they love. It's about following procedures that were written in blood. Every regulation exists because somebody died, somebody got hurt, or somebody lost everything they'd worked for. In the Army Corps, we had a saying. The manual is written in red ink, meaning every procedure, every safety protocol, every step-by-step process existed, because someone before us had learned the hard way what happens when you skip steps. Gabriel thought my compliance protocols were legacy friction. I thought of them as insurance policies. At first, I figured someone would pump the brakes. Maybe HR would hesitate. Maybe Nicholas, who once called me the guy who keeps us out of federal prison, might speak up, but nothing. HR sent the reclassification paperwork 4 days later. My new title, Senior Administrative Coordinator. My security clearance was downgraded. My invitations to leadership meetings disappeared overnight. I nodded, smiled, even congratulated Gabriel when he bragged about hitting his first efficiency target at the next all-hands meeting. He actually gave me a thumbs up and called me Jeremy T, like we were buddies now. So I printed the original SOC 2 designation letter, the one signed by the board in 2019, and emailed it to my personal account with a timestamp. Then I printed 2 copies. One went into my home filing cabinet, the other into a binder labeled Regulatory Continuity, Archive Only, and quietly placed it in the legal department storage room. 4th shelf, left side. I didn't tell anyone. See, people think revenge needs to be loud, dramatic exits and angry speeches about being unappreciated. But nobody appreciates a landmine either until someone steps on it. The real beauty was in Section 12.3 of our business continuity plan, a clause I'd added 6 years ago after watching a competitor get hammered with $3.2 million in fines for improper compliance handoffs. It stated that any change to the named compliance officer must be formally reassigned by board resolution within 21 calendar days, or the designation becomes legally invalid retroactive to the vacancy date. Steel manufacturing compliance fines start at $5,000 per day for minor violations. After 90 days of continued violation, they escalate to $15,000 per day. The math gets ugly fast that weekend. Matthew came down to the kitchen while I was reading through federal compliance regulations at the breakfast table. He poured himself coffee and sat across from me, still in his Carnegie Mellon engineering t-shirt from 4 years ago. "Dad, Mom's worried about you," he said. "She thinks you're planning something, just reviewing some technical documentation, son. You've been reviewing technical documentation every night this week. Plus, you've got that same look you had when you were planning your thesis defense. Like you're working through a complex problem that nobody else can see yet." Smart kid gets that from his mother. "Matthew, let me ask you something. In engineering, what happens if you remove a load-bearing structure without proper support replacement? The building falls down. And what happens if you try to retrofit support structures after the building's already started falling?" He thought about it, too late. The structural integrity is already compromised. You'd have to tear down and rebuild from the foundation. Exactly. Matthew studied my face. Gabriel removed a load-bearing structure, didn't he? Gabriel removed the load-bearing structure. He just doesn't know it yet. That Monday, Gabriel was already planning phase 2 of his optimization strategy. I heard him in the break room talking about right-sizing legacy support functions and leveraging automation for redundant oversight processes. Basically, he wanted to eliminate 2 more positions in quality control and replace them with software monitoring systems. I submitted my resignation Tuesday morning. Clean and simple. Effective 14 days from today, I will be stepping down from my position at Pinnacle Steel Manufacturing. That's it. No drama, no exit interview demands, no company-wide email about being undervalued. They processed it like routine paperwork. Disabled my access by end of day. The IT ticket was so rushed, they misspelled my name and forgot to update the compliance registry, which was exactly what I was counting on. That evening, Matthew found me in the garage, organizing my tools, something I always did when I needed to think through a problem. Dad, I've been reading about SOC 2 compliance requirements. The federal regulations are pretty specific about transition procedures. That's right. There's a mandatory waiting period for designation transfers, 21 days there is. And if no replacement is formally designated within that time frame, the designation becomes legally invalid retroactive to the original vacancy date. Matthew was quiet for a long moment. Dad, how long do compliance violations take to accumulate significant penalties? Depends on the violation type. Minor infractions start at $5,000 per day. After 90 days, they escalate to $15,000 per day. He did the math in his head. Engineers are good at that. Jesus, that adds up fast. Language, son. Your mother doesn't like profanity, sorry. But Dad, that could be over $1 million if it goes long enough. Could be, and you documented all the proper procedures. Filed everything according to protocol. 4th shelf, left side in legal storage. Matthew smiled, not his usual grin, but something more thoughtful, more mature. You know what, Dad? Maybe I should look into compliance as a career field. Professor Henderson says it's growing, especially with all these international acquisitions happening in steel manufacturing. Says companies need people who understand both the technical requirements and the business implications. Might be smart thinking, son. There's job security in keeping people out of trouble. Plus, I'd be learning from someone who's really good at it. That night, I updated my profile on the Federal Compliance Registry, setting my certification to active, executive designation relinquished, no replacement filed, effective day 28. Then I registered as an independent consultant specializing in crisis compliance recovery. 24 hours later, my phone started ringing. By Monday, I had 4 serious inquiries, 2 from law firms representing companies in regulatory trouble, 1 from a boutique consulting group, and 1 from a German steel conglomerate that specialized in acquiring American mid-market manufacturers. That last one made me smile. I set up shop in a small office above Murphy's Pub on Liberty Avenue. 2 desks, a coffee maker that worked half the time, and a view of the old J&L Steel Works. Rent was $900 a month. My first consulting contract paid $105 per hour. The math worked better than my old salary, and Jennifer started to relax a little. You know, she said over dinner that first week, I should have trusted you more. But Jeremy, when you're looking at 54 and counting backwards to retirement, any disruption feels scary. I get it, I told her. But sometimes disruption is exactly what you need. I was getting comfortable at Pinnacle. Maybe too comfortable. Matthew had been quiet through most of dinner, but he looked up from his plate. Dad, I've been thinking about what you said, about compliance being a growing field. And Professor Henderson introduced me to someone from a consulting firm in Philadelphia. They're looking for entry-level compliance specialists. Says with my engineering background, I'd be a good fit. Jennifer and I exchanged glances. That's great, son, she said. Philadelphia's not too far. You could still come home weekends. Actually, Matthew said, I was thinking maybe I should stick around Pittsburgh for a while. Learn the business from you first. If you'd be willing to teach me. That's when I knew he was growing up. Not because he wanted to learn compliance, but because he saw an opportunity and was smart enough to take it. I'd like that, I said. Every morning I'd walk downstairs to Murphy's and get coffee from Benjamin, old Irish guy who'd run the place for 35 years. We'd talk about the Steelers, the weather, sometimes about business. He knew I'd left Pinnacle but didn't pry. Military guys understand when someone doesn't want to talk about work. You know, Jeremy, Benjamin said one morning as I was heading upstairs with my coffee, my grandfather worked the blast furnaces at Homestead. 43 years, never missed a day. When they tore down those stacks, he said something I'll never forget. What's that? The young ones think they can build better than the old ones, but they never ask why the old ones built it that way in the first place. Day 43 of Pinnacle's compliance violation. I got a call from a steel fabrication company in Ohio. Their compliance officer had quit without notice, and they were facing a regulatory audit in 5 weeks. Panic mode. I quoted them $185 per hour plus expenses for a 4-week emergency engagement. They said yes before I finished the sentence. Day 67. I was on a plane to Texas, helping a steel processing plant navigate an EPA investigation. Their previous compliance team had missed a filing deadline. The potential fines were in the millions. My job was to reconstruct their documentation trail and prove good faith compliance efforts. It took me 18 hours of digging through poorly organized files, but I found what we needed. The plant manager, a guy named Rodriguez, who'd been with the company for 20 years, bought me dinner and told me I'd saved his job. How'd you know where to look? He asked. Experience, I said. When you've been doing this as long as I have, you learn that compliance officers think alike. We all file things the same way, follow the same protocols. The documentation was there, just misfiled under a different date code. Day 89, the escalating fine structure kicked in for Pinnacle. Not that anyone there knew it yet. Steel manufacturing compliance violations become exponentially more expensive. After 90 days, the daily penalty jumped from $5,000 to $15,000. Still invisible, still accumulating, still retroactive. Meanwhile, Matthew had started coming to the office with me some days. I put him to work organizing files and learning federal compliance databases. He was a fast learner, asked good questions, and had that engineer's attention to detail that's crucial in this work. Dad, he said one afternoon, I've been reading through these violation case studies. Companies get hit with fines this big and they don't recover. They get sold, broken up, or just closed down. That's right, Pinnacle's been operating without valid compliance authority for almost 3 months now. 89 days to be precise, and tomorrow it escalates to $15,000 per day. It does. Matthew was quiet for a while, reviewing the federal guidelines on his laptop. This is going to destroy them, isn't it? That depends, I said. Someone might notice the problem and fix it before it gets worse. But they don't know there's a problem to fix. No, they don't, because Gabriel eliminated the position without understanding what it actually did. Gabriel eliminated the position because he thought modern technology could replace institutional knowledge. It's a common mistake. Day 120. Pinnacle announced the deal of the century. Press release went out at 9 a.m. Pinnacle Steel Manufacturing to be acquired by Alpine Steel Industries for $125 million. The story made the Pittsburgh Business Times front page. Nicholas was quoted extensively about Pinnacle's innovative operational transformation under new leadership. Gabriel was quoted too. He'd positioned himself as the architect of Pinnacle's lean operational model that attracted international attention. The article mentioned his strategic elimination of redundant legacy functions as a key factor in Alpine's interest. I read it over my morning coffee at Murphy's while Matthew reviewed compliance regulations at the table next to me. You see this? I asked, sliding the paper across to him. Matthew read the headline and whistled. $125 million. That's a serious acquisition. It is. And they're crediting Gabriel with making the company more attractive to buyers. They are. Dad, do the buyers know about the compliance situation? Not yet, but they will. Benjamin saw me smiling at the newspaper. Good news? He asked. You could say that. Sometimes patience pays off. My grandfather used to say something else about the steel business. Benjamin said, refilling my cup. The furnace that burns hottest melts the steel, but if you don't tend the fire right, the whole thing comes down. Day 13-5. The due diligence team from Alpine Steel Industries arrived in Pittsburgh. Professional, thorough, and led by Dr. Sarah Muller, who spoke 5 languages and had the kind of attention to detail that made German engineering legendary. Her team included Oliver Schmidt, a compliance specialist who'd spent 17 years auditing American acquisitions for European steel companies. They spent the first week reviewing financial records, operational metrics, and safety protocols. Everything looked clean. Gabriel had prepared beautiful presentations about streamlined operations and reduced overhead. The numbers were impressive. Alpine executives were optimistic. This looked like exactly the kind of lean, efficient American steel manufacturer they wanted in their portfolio. Day 14-9, exactly 21 compliance cycles. Since my designation had been terminated without replacement, Oliver Schmidt was in Pinnacle's legal archive room cross-referencing regulatory filings with personnel records. Routine due diligence, nothing unusual. He wasn't looking for problems, just verifying that all certifications were current and properly maintained. That's when he found my binder. Fourth shelf. Left side, exactly where I'd left it 8 months earlier. Regulatory continuity minus archive only. Oliver opened it and started reading the original SOC 2 designation letter. The business continuity plan with section 12.3 highlighted, the timeline requirements, the board resolution from 2019 that was never superseded. Oliver spent an hour going through every document. Then he cross-referenced the dates with Pinnacle's current compliance registry. Then he called Dr. Mueller. The math was simple and brutal. Day 22 through day 14-8 equals 127 days of compliance violation. First 90 days at $5,000 per day equals $450,000. Remaining 37 days at $15,000 per day equals $505,000 in total exposure, $1,000 and $5,000 in climbing at $15,000 per day until resolved. But it got worse. Because no replacement had been designated, every regulatory filing, every safety certification, every compliance document submitted during those 127 days was legally invalid. Pinnacle had been misrepresenting its regulatory standing to customers, insurers, and potential buyers for over 4 months, including Alpine Steel Industries. Day 14-9, Thursday morning, 9:15 a.m., Oliver Schmidt walked into the Pinnacle boardroom carrying a folder that would destroy everything Gabriel had built. "Who is Jeremy Townsend?" he asked, setting the folder on the conference table. Gabriel looked confused. "He used to work here. We restructured his position last year as part of our operational optimization. But he is still listed as your named SAC 2 compliance officer," Oliver said, opening the folder. "According to your federal registry in this documentation, he remains the designated authority for all regulatory filings." Nicholas leaned forward. "That's impossible. We handled his transition months ago." Oliver wasn't smiling. "Where is the board resolution replacing him, the formal reassignment documentation? The updated federal notifications?" Silence. Gabriel started typing frantically on his phone. Nicholas was already reaching for his. Legal was called out of another meeting. HR scrambled to find records that didn't exist. "We assumed the transition was automatic when we restructured his role," someone from HR offered weakly. Oliver shook his head. "Federal compliance designations are never automatic. They require explicit board action and formal replacement within 21 calendar days. You have been operating without valid compliance authority for exactly 127 days, over 6 complete compliance cycles." Dr. Mueller, who had been quietly reviewing Oliver's findings, looked up from her laptop. "This represents a material misrepresentation of regulatory standing during preliminary negotiations. Gabriel tried to salvage the situation. It's just paperwork. We can fix this in a day, bring Jeremy back, file the forms, move forward." "No," Dr. Mueller said firmly, "you cannot retroactively fix federal compliance violations. Your current exposure is $1,000 and $5,000, increasing by $15,000 daily." The room went dead quiet. Nicholas's face had gone gray. "Surely we can resolve this." "It's a procedural oversight." Oliver opened his laptop and turned the screen toward the table. "Your compliance violations create significant liability exposure for any acquiring entity. But more concerning is the pattern of misrepresentation. Mr. Townsend left detailed documentation showing that proper procedures were available and ignored. This was not an oversight," Oliver continued. "This was negligence." Dr. Mueller closed her laptop slowly. "This is a material breach of due diligence representations. We need to pause acquisition proceedings pending legal review." Gabriel's voice cracked slightly. "We didn't see that documentation. It was filed in your legal archive with clear labeling," Oliver replied. "Mr. Townsend followed proper procedure. Your organization did not. That afternoon, Oliver called me directly. Professional courtesy," he said. "Wanted to understand the timeline of my departure and the transition procedures that were supposed to be followed. I was in my office above Murphy's working on a compliance manual for a client in Michigan. Matthew was at the other desk, learning federal database systems. Mr. Townsend, this is Oliver Schmidt from Alpine Steel Industries. We are reviewing Pinnacle Steel's regulatory standing as part of acquisition due diligence. Yes, sir. How can I help you? I gave him the dates, explained the proper procedures, confirmed that no formal replacement had ever been designated. When he asked if I'd attempted to notify Pinnacle of the compliance gap, I mentioned the binder, regulatory continuity, archive only. Fourth shelf, left side in legal storage, should still be there. We found it, Oliver said. Very thorough documentation. Section 12.3 of the Business Continuity Plan appears to address this exact scenario. Yes, sir. I wrote that clause in 2019 after watching a competitor get hit with $3.2 million in fines for improper compliance handoff. Seemed like prudent risk management. Indeed. Are you currently available for consulting engagement? Depends on the scope and timeline. What did you have in mind? Matthew looked up from his computer, eyebrows raised. I covered the phone. Alpine Steel. I whispered. He grinned. Day 150, Friday morning, Dr. Mueller called an emergency meeting. Nicholas, Gabriel, the board, legal counsel, everyone who mattered. She laid out the situation in terms that left no room for interpretation. The Alpine team was packed and gone by noon. Their final act was to formally notify Pinnacle's board that due diligence had revealed material compliance violations and misrepresentation of regulatory standing. The press release went out Monday morning. Alpine Steel Industries withdraws from Pinnacle Steel acquisition due to unresolved regulatory compliance issues. Pinnacle's stock opened down 22% and kept falling. By market close, it had dropped 31% in a single day. Tuesday morning, my phone rang again. Dr. Mueller this time. Mr. Townsend, Alpine Steel Industries is interested in retaining your services for a comprehensive compliance review of our North American operations. 16-month contract, $125 per hour. Full autonomy over methodology and timeline. Are you available? I looked around my little office, then at Matthew, who was already pulling up Alpine's corporate structure on his laptop. Yes, ma'am, I'm available. And I'd like to bring an associate if that's acceptable. Recent Carnegie Mellon engineering graduate with strong compliance aptitude. Excellent. We'll send the contracts this afternoon. 6 months later, I was sitting in my new Alpine Steel office, corner office on the 17th floor with a view of the Monongahela River. Matthew had started as a junior compliance analyst and was already showing the kind of attention to detail that would take him far in this business. Pinnacle Steel had been sold in pieces to various buyers over the summer. The original headquarters building was leased to a tech startup. Most of the manufacturing equipment went to a competitor in Ohio. The final regulatory settlement was announced in September, minus $2.1 million in fines, covered mostly by insurance, but the company's reputation was finished. Nicholas moved to Florida. Gabriel's LinkedIn profile said he was exploring new opportunities in operational excellence consulting. That evening, I walked down to Murphy's for coffee. Benjamin was closing up but poured me a cup anyway. How's the new job, he asked. Can't complain. Turns out experience is worth something after all. You know what my grandfather used to say about the steel business? The man who knows why the furnace was built that way will always have work. The man who thinks he can build it better without asking why will always be looking for work. Some people spend their careers trying to be seen. I spent mine knowing where the emergency exits were located. Gabriel had called compliance legacy friction with outdated operational overhead. Turns out legacy knowledge is what keeps companies alive when the regulations change and the lawyers come calling. Matthew and I have been talking about starting our own compliance consulting firm in a few years, father-son partnership specializing in steel manufacturing regulatory oversight. There's definitely a market for it, especially with all these international acquisitions happening. Business is good, really good. Just took them $125 million to figure that out. In the end, Gabriel learned what every young hotshot eventually discovers. You can't automate wisdom, and you can't innovate your way around the consequences of ignoring the people who actually know how things work. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting mad or getting even. It's just letting incompetence run its natural course while you build something better with the knowledge they threw away.